What's up, everyone? Kyros here, and today we're going to go over the Xiangling build guide. Now, she is a S-star hero, in my opinion, especially when you Constellation break her. She's pretty powerful. So we're going to break it down in the chapters down below. We're going to go over talents and Constellation, stats and gear, which weapons you should use, and the team compositions you're probably going to use with her, which she kind of fits in every team comp, spoiler alert. So anyways, before we get started, please check me out down below. I am on Twitch 4 nights a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. You can also subscribe, like, all that goodness. Let's kick off the video. All right, let's talk about Xiangling's talents and Constellation real quick. So her first ones are normal attack. She does a multi-hit pattern with her polearm. You can see here, here's her skill attributes. Her scaling on her basic attack. So there's a few different builds you can do, and you can check down the chapters down below when we get to the best stats and gear to use. Depending if you're a raw attacker or a support DPS, this is going to change the way that you build her. So you may want to invest in her normal attack if you're a raw damage dealer, but if not, probably not. You can wait on this one till later. Her second attack is her Gooba attack. She sets down her little bear. It breathes fire on everyone. This is actually really good and can do a lot of damage. I highly suggest you do level this up. And finally, her final talent, her burst, is her Pyro Nado. This is insanely good. It lasts for 10 seconds or 14 seconds or any amount of seconds. We'll get to that in a second. And it's just really good because it allows you to pop it. You can put down the bear. You can swap to another DPS. This is what makes her a really good primary DPS and a secondary support DPS as well. She does have crossfire, increases the range, does help out really well there. And she does have her, and now this is really good as well. She puts down the pepper as soon as the bear goes away. That gives 10% attack power to whoever picks it up. So that's really good. I really like that. So depending on how you're building her, I highly suggest you probably do her burst as the one that you level up the most, her skill second, and then her actual normal attack third. All right, moving right along to her constellations. Her constellations are really good. So there's two constellations in particular that are extremely good, which is her C1 and her C4. If you're lucky enough to pull her multiple times, I know she was on the last banner for Venti. This puts her in a higher tier. It almost pushes her from A rank to an S rank hero, and actually is better than some of the other S rank heroes, or the 5-star heroes, I should say, when you start Constellation breaking these 4 stars. So her C1 is going to allow Gooba's attack to lower the pyro's resistance. This is especially good if you're building into pyro damage. Her C2 last attack causes AoE pyro damage. Also very good if you're fighting like slimes or something like that, or anything that has an element already. She's going to proc that like non-stop. And her C4 increases Pyro Nado's duration by 40%. That brings it from a 10-second duration to a 14-second duration. That is insanely good. Upgrading her Gooba attack, that's really good too. And finally, her C6 is really good. Increases the pyro damage of everyone, just increases more damage. But not as good as the C4 and the C1, in my opinion. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to stats and gear. So now there's 2 different builds you can really do on Xiangling. There may be 3. We're going to focus on the build that I prefer the most, which is her hybrid build. So let's first talk about the build that I'm not really going to showcase, but you can use. Her first set is the Gladiator set. That's going to focus around her main auto attack. That's going to use her as a main DPS. It's going to increase her attack stat, and it's going to increase the damage of pole arms. As you can see on my razor, you can see we are rocking that 4-piece Gladiator set, and that can go a long way on Xiangling as well. Now, I do prefer the builder on hybrid, so we're going to go over that now. So going through her her artifacts, if you're going for the witches set, which you can find here at the Hidden Palace of Zhao, highly suggest you start doing this at AR40 or AR45, so you can try and get those 5 stars. The 2-piece bonus set for this is going to increase pyro damage, so that's going to work for your bear, and it's going to work for your burst. And then the 4-piece also goes really well. Now, I know that you can't really get it to stack 3 times. You might be able to. Correct me in the comments down below, but I don't think you can. But even the 1 stack alone does a ton of damage increase. So I highly suggest you go after that set. So now talking about the specific pieces you're looking for. If you're building her for the gladiator set, you're going to build attack and crit damage across the board. I wouldn't really build her too much into elemental mastery. That's really good as a secondary stat, so don't worry too much about that. It really depends on if you're going to swap to her, swap off her, and all that goodness. But if we're looking at her artifacts here, you're really going to want, so obviously the feather is going to be attack. You're looking for that elemental mastery, attack percent, crit rate, and energy recharge. Energy recharge is going to go a long way. This could also be flat attack. This could also be crit damage. There's a lot of good stats you can use. Just highly suggest you avoid obviously defense, flat defense, HP, and flat HP. Now moving on over to the flower, obviously those are just whatever substats you get there. Now I am running crit rate on her helmet. I haven't fully maxed it out. It goes all the way. Oh, well, I have fully maxed it out, sorry, but got crit damage on there. Defense percent, that sucks, but if I find a better one, I'll merge it in there. Elemental mastery, not too bad in energy, but you're looking for that crit rate. Now you're really looking for that pyro damage. So whatever artifact you can find that has pyro damage on it, and getting this 4 set is really going to help you out a lot for that hybrid build. And then finally, you're going to just put raw attack. These are pretty terrible substats. So you guys, and remember, your substats don't have to be perfect. You can get 90% of the EXP back by merging. So if I found a better artifact than this, I would just merge this artifact into her new artifact. So you can always get replacements pretty easily. So that's where I would farm most of her gear. Obviously, the gladiator set is really hard to get. You're only going to get that from the weekly world bosses or from doing ascension rank up materials. So I wouldn't focus too much on that. You're going to get a lot more bang for your buck going for a hybrid build with the crimson set, and it allows her to do a ton of damage, especially when you throw maybe Xing Chu with her, or a bunch of other characters like Chi Chi and any other characters that's going to proc all that damage for you. Okay, so going to the weapons are pretty straightforward. Most of them are going to be gotten, unfortunately, through the gacha system, so hopefully you roll pretty well. One of them is going to be through the shop, and there's going to be a 5th weapon that is free to play. But moving through the weapons, first you have the Skyward Spine, just overall a great weapon. Increases crit rate, increases attack speed, also has a vortex that does damage. Very good. Moving on, you have the Winged Spear, increases raw attack percentage. And I actually really love this weapon because it increases skill damage. So this weapon can be used for both of those builds that we talked about. Next, you do have the Dragon's Bane. Very good against Hydro and Pyro. And you're going to combine a lot of those elements a lot of the times anyways, using Xing Chu or using Mona or using Barbara. And then from the bear, the damage you're going to do is going to be very good. And then moving on, we have the 4th weapon, which is the Blackcliff Pole. You can get this through the shop. Now, it does require getting some resources to use from summoning and wishing and all that goodness, some masterless resources, or the other resource. I have to go check the shop again. Correct me in the comments down below. But this is also a very good weapon, increases raw attack. And last but not least, we do have our free to play weapon, which is the White Tassel. A pretty good weapon, crit rate, which is very good, and increases normal attack damage. These can be gotten from the chests that you get around the world. Now, there is another honorable mention. We've pretty much mentioned every pole arm, but there is one from the blueprint or the battle pass. But I highly suggest you don't pick that one. There's some better choices on that battle pass. All right, let's move on into team composition. So one of the primary teams I like to run with her is Xingqiu, a very good complementing character. Going from water to fire or fire to water is going to cause that vaporize, which does a ton of damage. It's especially good because I'm running him on the No Bleed set. I have his video coming out soon, and it's going to bump up the attack damage, and it's just gonna cause a ton of good ripple damage. Now I do run Razor with her as well. This is why I run her in hybrid, so I could use her as a main DPS attacker to an extent. But when I'm popping her burst and I'm popping the bear, I can swap to Razor and just pop his burst and just go to town with a ton of raw damage, causing overloaded all over the place, especially when there's a group of mobs. Running a healer with her, running any kind of cryo damage with her would be really good as well. And depending on how strong you can make her in the hybrid, Fischl's a good complementary with her. Barbara wouldn't be too bad with her as well. And you know what, the best part is she kind of works with everyone. Xiangling is one of the best characters in the game, and there's really not a bad team setup that you can do there. So running like Changyan, now I know his attacks do turn into cryo, or the attacks turn into cryo, but that's not a bad thing for Xiangling. This could actually work out really well. So that might be a really good complementing character for Xiangling. So I would look at anyone where you can really kind of pop their burst, pop their skill, and then move back to her and move back and forth laterally and just swap between them. And it's going to do a ton of damage. All right, quickly, I just want to put my 2 cents on it. Xiangling is probably one of my favorite characters out there. She is an S rank character, especially when you start unlocking that constellation. And that goes for most of the 4 stars. Forget the 5 stars, guys. Go with the 4 stars when you start breaking those constellations. They're so good. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Let me know in the comments down below. I've got my Xingqiu video coming out fairly soon, so stay tuned for that. And once again, I'll see you on my twitch.tv channel. Check you guys next time.